Girlfriend kiss my friends cheating or not. Chloe and I had a rhythm. 3 years of it. Morning coffee, stolen kisses before she left for her kindergarten, predictable arguments about whose turn it was to do the dishes. It wasn't fireworks every day, but it was comfortable. Safe. I'm Liam, by the way, 28, pushing pixels for a living. Chloe's the same age. Ethan, my best mate since we were kids, was always around. Finance guy, loud laugh, perpetually single, or at least seeming perpetually single, despite dating Sarah for what felt like an eternity. Noah was the quieter one, the graphic designer, more thoughtful. I trusted them both. It started subtly. At Sarah's birthday party. Chloe, in that red dress that always turned heads, was laughing with Ethan by the drinks table. I wandered over, put my arm around her, and she kind of stiffened. Ethan gave me a playful punch on the arm, said something about Chloe having a killer joke. But when I hugged Chloe goodbye that night, the hug felt a little longer than it should. It barely registered. Just a flicker of unease that I dismissed as being tired. Weeks later, Ethan and Sarah came over for dinner. I was in the kitchen prepping the salad when I heard Ethan and Chloe laughing in the living room. Harmless, I thought, until I walked in and caught them in the middle of some inside joke, both flushed and bright-eyed. As soon as they noticed me, the laughter died down. Chloe busied herself straightening the cushions on the sofa, while Ethan made a show of admiring my record collection. Again, I wrote it off. Maybe I was just being paranoid. Then came the phone call. I was working late, catching up on bug fixes when I heard Ethan's voice booming from my phone's speaker. It was on the charger on my desk, connected to my car. I hadn't realized Chloe was calling him. Seriously, Ethan, you're always flirting with her. It's so disrespectful. And you know Liam doesn't like it. That was Sarah. Her voice was sharp, laced with anger. Ethan's response was muffled, but I could make out fragments. Relax, babe. Just joking around, you know how I am. That's not what it looked like last night. You two were practically glued together. And don't tell me to relax, it's always something with you. I felt a cold knot tightening in my stomach. My hand instinctively reached for the phone to hang up, but I hesitated. I needed to hear more. Look, Sarah, just drop it, okay? You're being ridiculous. I was just being friendly. Liam's my best mate. I'd never do anything to hurt him. The call ended abruptly. I was furious, betrayed, but also confused. Was Sarah just jealous? Was Ethan really just being his usual obnoxious self? Or was there something more going on? When I got home, I confronted Ethan. He laughed it off, said Sarah was being insecure. You know how she gets, mate. She's always accusing me of shit. He clapped me on the shoulder a little too hard. Don't sweat it, Liam. You know I'd never, you're like a brother to me. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But the seed of doubt had been planted. I started paying closer attention. At parties, I noticed Chloe and Ethan gravitating towards each other, sharing glances, finishing each other's sentences. I'd find them whispering in corners, their heads close together. Every time I felt that same cold knot in my stomach. Then there was the night at the Tipsy Pig. Chloe and I had met up with Noah and a few other friends. I went to the bar to grab another round, and when I turned around, Chloe was gone. I scanned the crowded room, finally spotting her near the back, talking to Noah. As I got closer, I noticed the tension in the air. Chloe looked flustered, her cheeks flushed. Noah seemed uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact. When Chloe saw me, her face went pale. She mumbled something about needing to go to the bathroom and hurried away. The rest of the night was a blur of forced smiles and awkward silences. Chloe was distant, barely speaking to me. Noah kept his distance altogether. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had happened between them. I started sleeping poorly, waking up in the middle of the night with my mind racing. I'd lie awake for hours, replaying every interaction between Chloe, Ethan, and Noah in my head, searching for clues for confirmation of my suspicions. I finally confided in David, a colleague at work. David was a solid guy, someone I trusted. I told him everything from the overheard phone call to the awkward encounter at the Tipsy Pig. David listened patiently, without judgment. When I was finished, he sighed and said, Liam, I don't know what's going on, but I think you need to trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. His words hit me hard. I knew he was right. I couldn't ignore my intuition any longer. The arguments with Chloe became more frequent, more heated. I accused her of being secretive, of spending too much time with Ethan and Noah. She denied everything, accused me of being insecure and controlling. You're suffocating me, Liam, she'd scream. I can't even talk to my friends without you getting jealous. I knew I was being obsessive, but I couldn't help myself. The uncertainty was eating me alive. One night, fueled by jealousy and desperation, I made a terrible decision. I waited until Chloe was asleep, then I unlocked her phone. I hated myself for doing it, but I had to know. I scrolled through her messages, her call history, her photos. I found nothing concrete. No incriminating texts, no suggestive photos. Just innocent conversations with friends, work colleagues, and her family. But the act itself made me feel sick. I was becoming someone I didn't recognize. The trust was gone, replaced by paranoia and suspicion. The next day, I ran into Sarah at the local coffee shop. She looked tired, her eyes red and puffy. I knew she and Ethan had been fighting a lot lately. "Look, Liam," she said, her voice low and urgent. "I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but you deserve to know. There's history between Chloe and Ethan that you don't know about." "What do you mean?" I asked, my heart pounding in my chest. She hesitated, then said, "Just be careful, Liam. Don't trust everything they tell you. It wasn't just that one party, and you should know that. That was it." She wouldn't say anything else, but her words were enough. That night, I confronted Chloe. I was calm but firm. "I know something happened between you and Ethan," I said. "I know there's more to it than you're letting on." She denied it at first, but I could see the guilt in her eyes. Finally, she broke down. "Okay, fine," she sobbed. "Yes, I kissed him. Once, a few months ago. At Jen's birthday party. We were both drunk. It was a mistake. I swear it didn't mean anything." The relief I felt at finally hearing the truth was quickly replaced by a crushing wave of anger and betrayal. "And what about Noah?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Were you drunk then too?" She hesitated again, her face pale. "Noah, he kissed me after we went out for drinks. You were away on that business trip. I swear, Liam, I didn't initiate it. He kissed me and I pulled away. It didn't go anywhere." I stared at her, numb with disbelief. My girlfriend had kissed my two closest friends. How could this be happening? The argument that followed was brutal. Accusations flew, tears streamed, and years of pent-up resentment boiled to the surface. I felt like my entire world was collapsing around me. I needed to get out. I grabbed my keys and stormed out of the apartment, leaving Chloe sobbing on the couch. I drove aimlessly for hours, not knowing where to go or what to do. I ended up at a dive bar on the edge of town, the kind of place where no one asked questions. I sat in a dark corner, nursing a beer and trying to make sense of everything. I called Ethan, my hands shaking. "You and Chloe, what the hell, man?" I shouted into the phone. He was dismissive, unapologetic. "Relax, Liam. It was just a kiss." She came on to me, "Okay? What was I supposed to do?" I hung up on him, disgusted. Then I called Noah. His voice was filled with remorse. "Liam, I'm so sorry. I screwed up. I was an idiot. It shouldn't have happened. I was attracted to Chloe, but I knew it was wrong. I'm so sorry for hurting you." His apology felt genuine, but it didn't ease the pain. I spent the next few days in a daze, bouncing between anger, sadness, and confusion. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't focus on anything. I felt like my life had been a lie. I moved out of the apartment temporarily, crashing on David's couch. He didn't pry, just offered a listening ear and a steady supply of beer. Chloe called and texted constantly, begging me to come back. She said she loved me, that the kisses were meaningless mistakes. She blamed her insecurities, her need for attention. I wanted to believe her. Part of me still loved her, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I could never truly trust her again. We met for coffee a few times, trying to talk things through. We rehashed the past, dissecting every interaction, every miscommunication. I realized that our relationship had been built on a shaky foundation, that we had never truly addressed our underlying issues. One afternoon, after hours of agonizing conversation, I finally made a decision. "Chloe," I said, my voice hoarse with emotion, "I can't do this anymore. I can't forgive you. I can't trust you. I still love you, but I can't stay with you." Her face crumpled. "Liam, please don't do this. We can work through this. I promise I'll change." I shook my head. "It's too late," I said. "The damage is done. I need to move on." The breakup was messy and painful. There were tears, recriminations, and promises that we both knew we couldn't keep. But in the end, we both knew it was the right decision. I haven't spoken to Ethan since that phone call. Our friendship is over. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive him. Noah and I have talked a few times. He's still remorseful, still trying to make amends. I don't know if we can ever be as close as we once were, but I'm willing to give him a second chance. Maybe. It's been a few months now. I'm still hurting, still processing everything that happened, but I'm also starting to heal. I'm focusing on myself, on my work, on rebuilding my life. I packed the last of my things from our apartment. As I closed the door behind me, I felt a wave of sadness wash over me. But beneath the sadness, there was also a sense of hope, a sense of freedom. The future is uncertain, but I'm ready for it. I'm stronger now, more aware of my own needs and boundaries. I've learned a painful lesson about trust and betrayal, but I've also learned that I'm capable of surviving even the most devastating heartbreak. And that maybe, just maybe, Something better is waiting for me around the corner.